dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.
Yep. What's up? It's your boy Humble Dad back with another edition of Humble Dad Podcast. Got a great show for you this evening for sure. How do I know? Because I said so. And we always do. I mean, we bring the I guess solutions, unlike some places, but that's okay. Because we're doing our part in trying to, I would say, build healthy relationships and marriages, and making sure that we give enough energy to men and women alike for those that don't know that we do that. Sometimes we just stick to one particular gender at a time. Sometimes we do both. But whatever I see that needs to be talked about, I try to go that way. Right? And if you have suggestions, you're always welcome to email me at humbledad78@gmail.com. And so as we start the show, the first question that we're going to have is a get to know you question. And that is, what is your best dish? So if you cook or if your significant other cooks, hopefully you have a best dish. Just give me one. I know some of my people like to give me 2 and 3, but just give me one dish that's your best dish. And we're going to start with none other than Mr. Prototype. What's up? You're on mute, bro.
What's happening?
I'm good. You set? Have you got your stuff together over there?
Oh yeah. I'm all set now.
That's
for sure.
What's your best? You need to turn up your mic a little bit.
Turn it up.
Just a little bit.
Turn me up.
It may be me. Let me see.
It might be you. I got everything set up.
Oh yeah, that's good. It was me.
My best dish is probably the mac and chisel. You know what I mean? Like, I've been handed the baton to always provide the mac and cheese for the family holidays. So I'll keep it simple and say the mac and cheese.
Like, what's the brand?
What?
What brand do you use?
Cat Fancher's brand, Prototype's brand. Like, I ain't telling you the ingredients. What are you talking about? What you talking about?
Oh, you saying it's like that?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Listen, mac and cheese sound like just Kraft.
Nah, bro.
It's better. It's better than that. Okay, cool.
Is it better? It's better than that? Come on, man. Don't do me like that.
I don't know. I'm just asking, my dude. We'll talk about it. Hey, appreciate you being here. I see you already on one. We're going to get it started. Hey, welcome to the stage. None other than Miss Bedazzle in the building. Jamie. Sean, you ready? That's what I like. Off guard.
You did catch me off guard. I would say my best dish. I've been thinking really hard about this situation here.
It's not even a situation.
Like, is it like a whole meal or just like a thing?
Listen. This one I'm gonna make a shirt, right? It's gonna say thinking, and then it's gonna have the word over. You know what I'm saying?
I got a sweater that says it.
I'm sure. Oh, okay. What is your best dish?
I would say the best meal dish that I make is like a grilled fish with like grilled shrimp and like the sauce that I make and rice and all that type of stuff. But can I be real? I've never seen a not empty plate. And so like that's scraping because there's nothing left on there. So every dish I make is good. I'm just gas myself up because I've never seen a not empty plate. That's what I'm gonna say. That's the answer you're gonna get.
So every dish is your best dish, is what you say.
Yeah, because I said so. See, like
For
that.
sure. Hey, we'll be back again. Hey, we're gonna shout out to none other than Mr. Jay-Z.
Thank you.
And with the questions, always trying to take over as the moderator. Okay, let's see how you do.
Humble. Come on, man. No,
You
my
disagree.
best dish is chicken Alfredo. Now I make the Alfredo sauce from scratch. And I'm telling you, they like the store bought better. So I cheat with the sauces now. But preparing the meat and all of the, everything that goes along in it, that's my best dish.
That's what's up. Appreciate you for being here, homie.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's humbling this week.
For sure. And none other than the one that everybody enjoys hearing her perspective. Miss Taking in the building.
I would say mine is pan-seared salmon with sun-dried tomato cream sauce.
What? Say it again.
Is pan-seared salmon with sun-dried tomato cream sauce.
That's
I love sun-dried. Anything with sun-dried tomatoes in it, I love. So that's one of my favorite dishes.
That's what's up. Appreciate you for being here, Miss Taken.
Thank you.
Listen, if y'all haven't seen the show where me and Miss Taken talk kind of through the scripture, y'all should go check that one out. That was a really good conversation for sure. She made me think a lot. And I appreciate that. I don't know why you laughing, Jay Zilla? You don't think I be thinking?
No, man. I love your humbleness. Going on someone else's platform and being willing to think a little bit.
The sarcasm.
No, I'm taking notes.
Oh, okay, that's a bet. Hey, none other than the Bear White of these YouTube streets. My dude, Lost in Translation.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
Listen, my favorite dish I had to get confiscated from my mama. My mama makes the best banana pudding you have ever put in your mouth. I had to have a conversation with her a while back. I said, before you leave this earth, you must show me how you make the banana pudding. So it took me a while to figure it out. But once I did, I said, Mama, the recipe is now in good hands. You know what I'm saying? So the banana pudding is what I pull out if I want to impress. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. So how often do you make it in a year, would you say?
Maybe about 4 times. You know what I'm saying? I always say life is short, man. Eat dessert first. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy yourself. That's right. Enjoy yourself.
Huh. I want to see how my wife go with that. We're going to eat dessert first, babe.
Yeah.
She might go for that. I would say for me. Well, appreciate you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
My favorite is this pork chop that my wife made when we first started dating. It was incredible. It was like this, I don't know, it had to be like 12 ounces or something like that. And she had some gravy and everything with it, right? That's probably my favorite dish. But as far as my best dish that I made is like my grilled wings, I would say. You know, it all starts with the seasoning, and I do a couple different seasoning depending on the day. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I get down. And matter of fact, my wife taught me how to grill. And so shout out to Miss Kendra. Then I just took it up a notch. And so my kids like to eat my food now. You dig? All right, here we go, man. We're gonna start it off like this. He's starting already in the back chat. He's the back chat guru. All right, so we're gonna look at it. We're gonna start like this. I think I had a video that I wanted to start with first, and then y'all can respond to it. All right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm hearing it. I'm taking it. I'm growing, and I'm different. Bing. Okay. New me.
I'll play it again.
I'm hearing it. I'm taking it. I'm growing. And I'm different. Bing. Okay, new me.
Hey, go ahead, Jay Zilla. What you got?
Man, I wish it were that simple on both sides. I would love, like, that's one of my biggest things, like trying not to be misunderstood and trying to understand. Like, that's it. I wish it would be that simple. My goodness. Are we picking who goes next?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go with Miss Taken. Miss Taken and I had a conversation on the show. Appreciate you. So I want to hear from her.
I don't really know what to say about it.
Why is it funny?
Is it?
What made you laugh about it?
I think I would have to say that I think women do have a hard time taking criticism depending on how is given. So if she was able, like she said, she was listening. It was given in a correct manner in which she could listen and digest it. But it was hard. But I have no idea why it's like that though. I don't know. Like, because when I'm at work, no, I do this with my husband too. I was gonna say when I'm at work, I actually seek critique so I can improve. I will go to my boss directly and will ask, in what ways, do you feel that I can improve, or are you okay with my, work or whatever? But I do that with my husband at times too. But for some reason, because I guess I have a connection with my husband, it hits different than it does from a boss. Mm-hmm. So
hit different in the sense of like worse. What word would you use?
I know this sounds bad. I don't really, because I'm a hard worker at work. So it's not that I don't really care. I don't care. I don't have a emotional attachment to my boss, should I say.
Okay.
So I'll do my work and I'm just the type of person that I try to give 100% at whatever I do. So his critique and feedback is not towards me personally, it's towards my work. Mm-hmm. Whereas with my husband, it's towards me personally. And so it hits a little different because, I want to be the perfect wife, which I know is not existent, but, just thinking that when he tells me, well, you're falling short in this, and he will, and I appreciate it because I do want to do better, but it does hit a little different because there's an emotional attachment there.
Okay.
Lost in translation.
Thank you, Ms. Taken. I was glad that I could follow you. Listen, what I gathered from that was she was taking it in, and I don't think she really focused on what was said. She was really focusing on herself, which begs me to believe, how come people can't separate the criticism from the person? You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
I want to free you ladies of something. We are always going to love you. Okay. Don't forget that. Sometimes the behavior needs a little adjusting. So remember, we're not critiquing you as the person. It's the behavior that needs to be adjusted. Remember that. So I'll let that, rest with you, because I think a lot of times women miss the opportunity to correct a particular behavior. But what they do is they internalize it and they make it seem as if they're the bad person, and they're not. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes people can't make the distinction. So I'm letting you know, men will still love you. We just need to correct the behavior a little bit. You see what I'm saying? Because you can always correct the behavior, and that's what us as men too. We don't want you to look at us as if we're bad people. Just say, hey, could you correct a few things? And yes, we'll address the behavior itself. We already know y'all ain't going nowhere. So that's the reason why we changed, because we love you. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Jamie this time.
I don't have anything to add. Seriously, I don't know what to say about what she did. I did find it funny though,
Why was
and
it?
so it did tickle me.
You're gonna have to expound upon why you were laughing hard, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, because it was just fake. She was like, "I'm taking it. I'm understanding, and I'm growing." You know, it was just fake. It was all. It was just funny. I've experienced people doing that while talking to me, so that's why I thought it was funny, because I was like, "You didn't hear nothing that I said," and I've done it too, or I was like, "I heard you, but I didn't hear anything because I just didn't care, but I wanted you to think I did." You know what I'm saying? So, uh, just keeping it real.
So what you're saying is you are believing that she was just saying it to pacify him. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So,
Okay.
I'll go with Prototype.
Did you need me to play
So
again, Proto?
no, I mean you played it twice, and both times I was just like, I don't know what happened. But I mean, everybody kind of explained, the sentiment. So I guess I can answer to that. But
Okay.
no, that just happened to me today. One of the parents wanted to fight me today out there on the baseball field. Like, and he came ready. Like, so as I was trying to have a conversation with it, he was not listening. He was like, "You don't talk to my wife like that." He was hot. But no, I understand. Like, no, I mean Christians do it all the time. You know what I mean? With the I've changed right now, so it's possible. It's possible. I mean, she was condescending in it, but it's possible to change it right now. I kind of hate that. Like, ooh, okay, like, oh, you're just right all the time. That's kind of what she did, but.
Yeah. I would say that the reason why, because I've been holding on to that clip for probably 2 months now, just trying to see when would be a good time to show it, right? And when I saw it, I did laugh pretty hard because she's kind of trying to figure out, in my estimation, who should she be bothered at, right? Should she be bothered at him for saying it, or should she be bothered at herself for not being able to accept the criticism? So
Well,
it's
what did
like
he say?
it didn't say what he said. It just responds like, okay, my husband just gave me a critique or a criticism. And so what I'm doing now is trying to receive it, but I'm having a hard time receiving it, right? And so that's the what kind of Jamie was trying to say. What do you want to say, Jamie? Oh, okay. I thought you were about to come off mute. My bad.
Oh,
So
but let me ask you a question. Do you think she was trying to process the information you had through her emotions or through her logic? And she was trying to figure out exactly which one she should use it through.
correct. So that's what I'm saying. Because that's you put it in the vernacular that would be helpful for the commoner, if you will, to a degree, right? Because because if she's going through feeling, then she would have to say that it's on him. If she goes through that it's logic, then she would have to receive that it's on her. Because she just said it was a criticism, right?
Yeah.
And nothing's
Right.
wrong with criticism. It's about how is it given sometimes. I'm gonna agree with that mistaken. It is sometimes how it's given and who is the person that's giving it to me, right? So but it's her husband, and she is trying to push down her flesh, we'll say it like that. She's trying to push down her flesh in order for her to say, you know what, maybe what he's saying is right, so let me try to see if I can fix it, or let me see if I can you know do something productive with the information that's given, right? And I would say that has happened to me before, where my instant response was like, "Nah, you're wrong about that critique. I don't think that's correct at all." You know, but then what I've learned is let me hear what the person's saying first, and if there is any truth that I can hear. Maybe and it may not be me thinking that they're right, but at least can I see it from your perspective? And so that's what I try to do now, is try to say, even with my wife, I try to say, you know what, I don't agree with what you said, but I can see how you saw what it is that I did to get you to that particular point. And so in that case, I would say I apologize for not communicating in that way and try to look to do it better next time. But I don't know if women do that as well. Maybe most of Miss Taken's friends, ain't that right, Miss Taken? Because all your friends, they're pretty good at taking critique. Cheat critique. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was quick.
It was. It was. Shout out.
That was smooth, humble.
Go ahead, Giselle.
No, I'm saying that was smooth, humble. I like that.
For sure. That's what they talk about. They try to hold people, they try to give their perspective, and they critique individuals and situations. And they've been doing that pretty good, for a while now. So shout out to them. So that's the start. So I wanted to transition. It's not going to be necessarily something that necessarily makes sense, but I wanted to ask this question because I just thought about this before we came on. Because women will talk about how there are no good men, and you saw the thumbnail with Vivica A. Fox, being a catch, if you will, in her younger years. And now she is wanting, she said a partner. She didn't say a husband, for those that haven't seen it. She said she wanted a partner, somebody that'll let her shop or something like that. And it's something else she said. I can't remember, but I'm sure somebody.
Travel. She wanted to travel.
She wanted to travel and be able to
Right.
spend the money, right?
Right.
Something like that. And have a partner to do that, right? And we'll talk about that here shortly. But I want to talk about, why do women put men in friend zone? Why do women put men in the friend zone? Jay Zilla, you like that question?
I love it. I love it.
All right. Okay. Who went first last time? Was it Jay?
I feel like me.
Okay, you went first last time. Let's talk to Prototype, man. Why do women put men in the friend zone?
Because they're corny. I mean, that's they think they're corny, so they friend zone them. That's about it. I don't really know why else women put dudes in the friend zone, because that's probably their best option. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, they're probably the same reason guys put girls in the friend zone. You know what I mean? Maybe they're just not attracted to them. So it's that matter, right? I mean, that's why I friend zone a lot of female friends, because we're cool and they're just not my style.
Okay. Pretty simple. Who you got going next?
Let's go with Lost. Let's get to the gravy right
Let's
now.
get to the business, man. That's right. Humble Dad, here's the thing. Let me ask you a question. Is it better to have more information or less information when it comes to a topic?
Oh, it's better to have more information.
Right. What happens is, most times when women put guys in the friend zone, is that they don't have enough information. You know what I'm saying? They don't quite know what to do with this particular person. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. They're trying to figure out, A, how do I look with this person? B, will this person really be who they say they're going to be? You know what I'm saying? Are they fronting? You know what I'm saying? Do they think that they can do what they say they're going to do? Or B, they probably have somebody else that they're waiting to do right. And they're putting the guy that's in the friend zone, or the girl that's in the friend zone, on layaway until the other person either shows up or bows out. So I usually think that's probably the main reason why most women put guys in the friend zones, because they don't have enough information to make an informed decision. And I'm gonna go with Jay Zilla. Yeah.
Hey man, I agree. To the man who's got that best recipe for some custard. I do think it's an evaluation thing. It's a tool where I can put something on, I won't say layaway, but I could sit it over here in the crock pot, set it, forget it, and break that glass open in case of an emergency. Do I need some sort of emotional support? Am I just feeling a little riled up physically? I know this guy has been trying to be more than friends for a while. But yeah, I think it is a tactic used to gather more information, which I'm okay with.
You're okay with women putting men in the friend zone? That what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, if they feel their value is such that they need to put someone off to try to evaluate whether or not they are, vibing right. If they're on the same frequency, do they have some of the similar goals, right? Sometimes people are very charming and very persuasive up front, right? And you try to make sure to weed out some of that narcissism by giving it time, because time is a narcissist's worst enemy, because the longer you're around a person, the more you find out about them, whether they want you to find out about them or not. But yeah, I think it's okay. I think pretty much, biblically speaking, every guy should be in the friend zone until, right? So I don't know. I'm okay with it.
Till when?
Marriage, my friend, marriage.
Oh, okay. Friend zone until marriage.
Yeah.
That's an interesting statement. So how would a woman be able to determine if he's husband material, or how would he be able to find out if she's wife material if
That's the
he's
trick.
friend zoned?
Right. That's the trick. I think actually finding out about whether or not you can be friends with a person, whether or not you can enjoy a person beyond just the physical or the surface level relationships. I think, I think it's pretty easy to do. You can say with potential, right? But we go on dates and we can still do fun things together. I can still ask you serious questions and gauge your answers. But as far as how to find an actual mate, Christians kind of have it the easiest. Fruits of the spirit, either you exhibit that or you don't, right? Everyone else is just kind of making up their own setting their own value system. So hopefully it's well thought out and something that, can be replicated, but most likely it's not, unfortunately.
I think I'm gonna come back to that.
I think women also put guys in their friend zones because they got situations that they haven't cleared up yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like a guy that they know, if they didn't have a boyfriend, would probably be with this other dude, like they'll friend zone him. You know what I'm saying? But they not friends because he taking shots. They flirting for real. You know what I'm saying? So like, I is there friend zones, or is there? I don't know what that is, because when you're flirting with your friend, is that a friend zone? Like, I know a woman be like, "Oh, that's my friend," but he taking shots at you. He's like, "Yeah, I want, blah blah blah. I would like to see that." You know what I'm saying? That's not friends. I don't. You know what I mean? Y'all cool, but he taking shots. Like, so there's friends where like that's your homie, and I have female friends that like they're my absolute homie. But then there was women that I was friends with, but I was taking shots like yo, hey, because I couldn't be friends with someone I'm attracted to be honest. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a woman's way of being sneaky. Like, oh, it's just my friend. Hmm.
Let's see. Jay Zilla, which lady you got going first?
Man, I'm gonna go with it's me, Jamie.
So Laws gave an answer that was right, and it was like the backup plan, if I'm not mistaken, is what you said. Backup plan. That's true. And then Prototype just said one that was right too, where it like for instance, say the girl is with a guy and he's not giving her adequate attention, and she has the guy that she put in the friend zone that she can talk to all the time, but know that it stays where that's at. So she gets the attention she needs while she's with the guy who is like playing the cat and mouse game with her. So I've seen that. I friend zoned a dude because he just seemed like he had a whole lot going on, and I needed to see if he did, and he did. He just had too much going on. And so it was best that we were not even friends now, because he was just messy. He had a whole lot of females just around all, all the time. And I tried to be friends with him, like just be on a cool friend, like that type of situation. He would just draw me into, he would triangulate me with the women that he was trying to make do more. And they would think that, like, it was crazy. It was insane. So men do this little triangulation thing too sometimes. And so I've purposed in my heart really not to have male friends, because I also don't want, and what I've had happen too with one guy I friend zoned, he went around telling people he was dating me behind my back. And so he was blocking me. And so a lot of times that would happen too. So friend zone is a selfish place that we put people that we don't necessarily want to be with, but we do like them around when we need validation and attention. That's what that is. And that's the honest answer. So let's go with mistaken.
Another thing to that is I would also say that it has to do with the friend zone is, if I truly know you, I may know that you would be a great friend, but not necessarily a great person in a relationship. So there's different expectations in a relationship that I'm going to have of you versus the expectations I have of you as a friend. So there may be compatibility in terms of things, interests and stuff that we like, things like that. But at the end of the day, would you be able to give me what I need on a relationship basis? And if not, then you're going to be friend zone. We could be cool. We hang out, we talk, you give me, some, information on how I'm a bag this dude over here, like getting that male perspective on certain things, but not crossing over because I know we wouldn't be compatible.
So, okay. So this is interesting. So you're telling me that basically they sandbagging for all those that play spades.
Basically.
Saying that you have a certain group of guys that you think that would be that you're interested in, but it's this one over here that is intriguing. However, I'm not too sure if I can be attracted to him in a way that it would be long term. So I'm gonna just be friends with him.
Yeah, expect kind of like what Jamie was saying too. If you are a ladies' man, if you the what they say, nobody wants community D. Like if you're that dude, you know what I'm saying? You may be cool, you're probably funny, you're probably got great personality, all of the things that I would probably like in a partner, but understanding that I know you're a ladies' man. So I'm not going to be compatible with you. So we'll stay friends and still kiki haha, hang out, but it can't go any further than that because I'm not trying to be one of the other women on your roster.
I know. I mean, maybe it's a certain type of woman that you're talking about, mistaken, because what I gather is that most women like that their dude is wanted by other women.
That's right.
You don't mind other women being attracted to your dude, but you want to feel secure that they don't have access. You can like, but don't touch. So when you are known as the community D, that means that I don't have anything special. That means somebody else can access you as well. So women like that other women like their man, but they don't want other women having access to their man, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I'm just saying that I don't think that's the majority of women.
No, she telling the truth.
I'm not saying she ain't telling the truth.
I was going to say mistaken, like it's not the majority of the women. Yeah, it's not the majority. I think that's probably the way we think, you know what I'm saying? But like that's not the way people outside think. Like women, they are excited with the man that has a lot of women after them, or like that has that aloof nature, and that could they really are attracted to that. And I've seen it firsthand. Like I don't know if you've seen a clip of the lady that was knowingly a side piece. Like I don't know if you've seen that, but she knows that this man is married, knows what she's into, and she is trying to figure out how she can get a married man to leave his wife, right? So that is the nature of a lot of women is, oh, if she can have him, why can't I have him too, right? Or let me see how much does he really love her, and I'll put myself in the vicinity and see if he will talk to me, regardless if he's married or taken. And so yeah, I mean, I would have to say that there's not a lot of women that think like we do, as far as like, okay, I'm okay with my man being attractive, but I want to make sure that nobody has access to him. That no, like these women, they like community.
Right. Well, I'm not talking.
I don't think so.
You're talking about the side piece. You're talking about the side piece. I'm talking about the main chick. The main chick who's with him is not going to want other people to have access to her man. The side piece is the one that's trying to get her ego up, like, I'm gonna see if I could take him. Those are two different positions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I agree with you with the side
Yeah.
piece mindset, but the one that's in the relationship, believe you me, don't, because it's something that makes a man even extra sexy
When they're taken.
right, but don't have access. Other women are even that much more attracted to them when they know that the guy appears to be faithful. But even for the wife or the main chick who's with him, that makes her feel even more secure and more attracted to him as well, to know that, look, he got a pick of all of these ladies. He chose me, and none of these other ladies can touch him. It's just something about that,
Right,
that makes a woman be
yeah,
like,
I got you.
that's my nigga. You know what I'm saying?
My hero. Yeah, I got what you're saying. Why is Lost shaking his head? I feel like he has got a lot on his spirit right now.
Before Lost go, let me hear what Proto was going to say. Then we'll come back to Lost. Proto,
I was just gonna say, like, I want to say Mistaken's right, where like they want the man untouchable, but they want a lot of women, but they can't control it. You know what I mean? Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, they want that, but they can't control it. Like, because once the man is desired like that, they don't understand what really comes with that. You know what I'm saying? So they want it, but it's just like a mystery. Like they can't get it. They can't control that kind of power, but they want to be able to.
so you're saying that the woman wants a man that that is inaccessible only to her. However, there are things that come along with that they may not be ready for.
They just can't. Yeah, they can't harness that power. They don't know. They don't know how to control the infinity stones like that.
Oh, you talking about the woman?
The woman, yeah. Like they want a man that's desirable, but don't want him to be like outside. You know what I'm saying? But it's like they don't understand what really comes with that. Like, you know, it's an infinity stone that they just don't have the power to wield. You know what I'm saying? So
I think that the what
Hold on, Miss Taken. Jamie was going to say something. Then I'm going to come back to Lost, and then I'll get to you. Just make sure you remember your thought. Go ahead. Jamie.
I was gonna say I don't think men understand that even a lesser attractive man becomes more attractive to women, or single women, when he's faithful to a woman. So like I've seen it happen. I've seen where a man has not been very attractive. I'm being real. You laughing, but I'm dead serious. Because I've seen it happen where he like been faithful, like he's loving on this woman, and then all of a sudden, people that have been curving him for years now is interested in him because he's showing a woman attention and love that they feel like they should have got because they curved him. I'm just being honest. So y'all go up a notch when in women's mind when you get in a relationship and you're faithful. And I know it sounds crazy, but I'm just telling you, I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it.
No,
I
they were
was like,
laughing at
I
the
thought you
part
didn't
that
even.
you were talking about the dude is not attractive, but he faithful.
Oh
Like he
yeah,
didn't have no options. What you talking about? He would- that's what.
but
That's
he don't
what's.
got no option to be, but he do now, and that's what and then
He has one, unless he
he
got
had
money.
one, but
It depends
now
on
that
the
he's been,
woman that he's with,
Say
because
it again.
women look at the other women
Oh, I see.
that a guy has been with to determine what kind of dude he is. So that
And they
plays
still
a
friends on it because that's what the topic is about. Y'all transition. Hey, get in here, Lost. What you got?
Let me clean this up, man. I'm finna tell the truth because y'all leaving stuff out, man. I ain't gonna call you no lie. I'm just gonna say you leaving stuff out. Listen, let me be honest with you. There are men that women are attracted to that they don't put them through no hoops. They just give it to them just like that. Then there are guys that are really not attracted to, and then they get this whole list. Well, if you get past all of this stuff, then I'll think about it. I mean, just let's be honest about it, man. Because think about it. Most women are attracted to the attractive guy. Let's be honest. You see what I'm saying? If the guy you think is attractive, other women's going to think he's attractive too. But the thing about it is, his attractiveness is not what makes him attractive. His attractiveness that makes him attractive is your ego. And what I mean by this is that you don't care whether or not he sleeps with anybody else or not, as long as he appears to be faithful to you. Think about it. Y'all said that a man gets more attractive when he's faithful to another woman. Humble Dad, let me ask you a question. What does a faithful man look like if you just saw him in the streets? If you saw him at the grocery store, could you look at a man and tell if he's faithful or not?
I can only tell when it's a hooper. You know what I'm saying? I can tell if he a hooper or not, but not if
Right.
he faithful.
Because he got the uniform on, right? Think about it. Think about it. You can't just look at a man and say he's faithful, but you can look and see if he's well dressed, if he's well groomed. You can see what type of car he drives. You see what I'm saying? You can also tell by how he carries himself, how he thinks, how he talks, that type of thing. Those are the things that really make a man attractive. And women know this. They can case out how much money a man makes just by looking at his shoes and how well tailored his clothes are. Trust me, I've been around gators. I know how sharks work and operate in these waters. You see what I'm saying? They know how to look. That's the reason why they ask questions. They ask you, what do you do for a living? They've already calculated how much money you make. You see what I'm saying? And can you take care of a family or whatever? That's the basis of it all right there. Can you provide? And will you provide for me? You see what I'm saying? You think about it. Even rich women will sit up there and have multi-billion-dollar husbands, and they have these side arrangements. As long as you don't make me look silly, you can have all the fun that you want. Bill and Linda Gates had an arrangement for a long time, but nobody knew about it until the actual divorce happened, and then it came out. So I mean, let's just be honest about this. You know what I'm saying? Women put men through hoops that they really don't like, and those are the guys that's in the friend zone. They're just there to supply what they can give them, which is attention and validation. Let's just be real. Because if you could have the guy that you really wanted, you wouldn't put him through the hoops because you'd be afraid that he may leave you, or I'll never get this type of high value guy, or whoever it is that you may like. I'm just being honest because I've lived a long time and I've heard women say these things and I've seen them do the exact opposite. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Come off mute, Jamie. Say it with your chest. Come on now.
I'm just agreeing with Lost because I said validation and attention. Like that's where they put them in the friend zone. I'm just agreeing with them. Now I have nothing bad to say because there's no lie to that.
And they want masculine attention without having to have pull down their drawers. That's what it seems like based on what y'all saying. Because
well, y'all got to understand that there has to be some level of attraction when you're gonna, you know what I'm saying? So if you're in the friend zone, then that means that there is something missing that I'm not attracted to. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just physical attraction, because women will end up with dudes that may not be physically attractive, but there's something about, like, you have been like around somebody for a long period of time and you really get to know them, and then you find yourself like, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to know who they are. So now that aspect of them becomes very attractive to you. So it depends on. So initially it'll be a physical attraction if it's going to be something like there, but you can end up friend zoning somebody and then get to know them, and then you become attracted to them about certain aspects. Like, I know one time, well, when I was, in high school, it was a guy that I dated, and I used to get so much slack about him because they would go to my best friend like, "Yo, what is wrong with her? Why is she dating him? Like, what is the problem?" Because, like, face wise, I wouldn't say that he was a 10. He wasn't, but he was just such a good dude, and that's what I was attracted to. He was very charismatic. He knew how to interact with other people. He, looked out for me, like that masculine wanting to take care of me, like that kind of stuff. So I was attracted to that. So I think that with women, we have the ability to find things outside of just looks that we're also attracted to as well.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. But he wasn't put in the friend zone. You feel me? You know what I'm saying?
He was.
Initially,
he graduated.
Nobody graduates from the friend zone.
Nobody graduates.
I was mistaken.
Look, she said she was in high school though. That,
we all went
that
to high
don't
school
count, really.
together, and I knew him in high school, and we were all friends. He
Oh, okay.
graduated. I was still in high school. He came back, and then we, started talking more.
So you never know because he graduated.
So he came because he was out of school. Now he's a college guy, and the status at that point.
Yeah, the status was
He
attractive.
literally graduated.
Yeah.
He
literally graduated, right?
And that's what the
Did he drive? He was
Let's
driving,
tell the
right?
truth, man.
He hit a car.
He had a car?
Yeah,
She
he had a
don't even
car.
Yeah, he had a car. Hey.
See there?
What's the problem?
Yeah, go on, tell the truth.
Come on, man.
Listen,
Humble Dad, what did I tell you earlier? She did not have enough information to make
he didn't
a
have
way.
enough information.
Exactly.
Graduated, had the car.
Trust me. That's what I'm saying. That's not a flex, because in high school, especially older men, like, I didn't have to wait for him to go to high school to have status. Which is so scary and sad. But older men would hang out at the high school for the purpose of trying to bag high school girls. So if that was the case, I could have got with any one of them. They had cars, they had money, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't about that.
But I see the thing of it is though, he didn't have that type of opportunity when he was in school though. He just made you more comfortable because you knew him, because he was still one of those guys that was outside of the school waiting on a young honey. It just so happened that you was the young honey that he knew.
That's not.
We had more of an opportunity to get with you, because
if they were friends before and going to the same high school, and then he graduates, was this like? I mean, what was the gap looking like, Miss Taken?
About two years.
About 2 years.
Yeah.
That's 10 years in teen years.
So she a junior and he just graduated.
And he just graduated. That's like a 40-year-old man and a 30-year-old woman. For real.
So okay, I like this because I think we're getting back to the video in the beginning. It was that video, Humble Dad, was almost like a Rorschach test, right? And we each see different things. What is friend zone? It means something different to a lot of different peoples. That person was friend zone, and then something about him changed. Was it, oh, this feels kind of naughty. He's an adult now, right? I mean, who knows what it was, like whatever, but something in your mind changed for as far as status. So I agree with the gentleman on that. But I'm trying to figure out, are y'all saying like this ideal of men and women putting someone in friend zone, is that a bad thing?
Yes, to a degree, because you're wasting the guy's time.
Yeah,
Well,
see,
it's his fault. He
I
should
see,
let his time get wasted.
Yeah, for sure.
but I see that differently. Like if a
Let
girl's
me,
saying like,
let me thoroughly answer, and then I'll get your take, right? Because typically how men work when they allow themselves to go into the friend zone, right? Because I mean, we're saying she's putting him there, but it's obvious that he's allowing her to do that, because what he's doing is staying in the cut, because he sees that there may be an opportunity to where he can then be out of the friend zone at some particular point, right? If you watch any of these episodes online, and you can see when the woman says he's just a friend. And I read an article, I think it was Psychology Today, where it's talking about that women see men friends differently than how that man as a friend sees her. She thinks that he's just there to be a friend, but he is attracted to her in some regard, right? We talking about certain type of dudes, most dudes, right? They're there just to be in the cut, so that when they have an opportunity, or she wants to cry on the shoulder, so that he can get to the girl, she can become his girlfriend, lady, whatever, or just smash. You know what I'm saying? He's looking for that. That's exactly what the article was saying, right? And so when a woman puts a man in a friend zone, she is just wanting him to be a friend, right? She's not looking for him other than to be a masculine energy to some degree, unless he's gay, right? Which a lot of women like to have gay men friends for some reason, because they want a man there, right? If they can't get one, so to speak. So it's not a positive thing. I see what you're trying to say. Go ahead, Jay Zilla, what you got?
no, that I appreciate you for further clarifying. I just still think it's incumbent upon what our, I guess, POVs are. I mean, I truly believe that. I do believe that there are some women who are like, hey, you're great. I just want to be your friend. And I do see a situation where a guy is like, even if he's just waiting in the cut, if he respects that, that can blossom into a real friendship long term, right? And vice versa. And so, if I'm just saying, in that very small box, I think it's okay, right? But if you have people out here on the flip side, like you are, to be more sinister, who are saying like women are dragging these guys along, then Prototype is right. Like that's a guy allowing himself to be.
No, I wasn't. No, that's what girls say. Girls say he shouldn't let. You know what I mean? He shouldn't let a guy shouldn't let his time be wasted. Like they always pass the blame, like it's a dude's fault.
Yeah, I think that's a trait that can be found on both sides, though, right?
Oh yeah, I'm not. I'm not saying. I'm just saying
Okay.
women always blame men for like being
Yeah.
taken advantage of by a woman.
Well, I like to look at it as a Rorschach test, like friend zone. This is why we have to get better at communicating. We have to teach our children how to think critically and how to be okay, as they say in the negotiation table, be okay with walking away. This FOMO thing is a real phenomenon, right? This fear of missing out. I mean, you're hearing like I used to ask my girls all the time, like, what if a guy asks you to do some stuff, right? And oh, I'm gonna say no. But what if he, and I just give them a bunch of scenarios that guys give girls, and you can see them just in this conversation weakening, weakening, and weakening, right? And so my job as a father was to try to strengthen their resolve in that situation. If you do anything, I hope you wait till you're married, but if you do anything, like make sure it's something that you actually want to do, that you want coerced or worn down or anything like that. So I don't know. We have to teach our youth, because I mean they're next up. And
Humble
the
that
hush
if I
falls over
may.
the crowd.
Humble that if
I
I
don't know if that's
may.
good or bad.
Nah, you good. Lawson's about to say something.
Yeah. Jay Zilla, here's the thing, man. We love to say what the guy should do, but in honesty, we should make the girl say, "Hey, look, I'm not interested," and make it be okay for them to say that. I think a lot of times women string guys along because they don't want to be the bad guy, and we never taught them how to release guys back into the wild. You know what I mean? Because they may have some type of abandonment issue that requires that the person provide some type of validation or attention for them. So they're going to have to be secure in themselves to say, hey, look, you know what? This is not necessarily what I want to do. And I wish you the best, and be okay with letting him go instead of keeping him around as if he's a toy, and vice versa with men and women as well too. Let them know, hey, look, this is not going farther than what it is. I don't want to waste your time. I really wish you the best. I'm going to go ahead and let you go and find who will best fit for you, and be okay with that. Instead of telling women to say, you know, it was his fault that he took me out. It was his fault that he bought me gifts. Well, guess what? He was supposed to do those things if he liked you. You know, a guy will, you know, open doors for you, buy gifts for you, dote on you, all of that good stuff if he likes you. But if you never tell him you don't like him back, then who's the real bad person here?
Criminal.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think we need to make it okay and safe for women to say, hey, look, I'm really not interested. And that way they keep their class about themselves and don't, you know, have a bad self-esteem problem by telling them, hey, I'm not interested.
Yeah, I'm talking to all my children now about how to recognize if someone actually loves you, right? Your friends, if they love you, they're not trying to get you into no foolishness, right? I tell my girls, if that guy is saying that he loves you, let him prove it with his actions, you know. But we also have to. So I'm constantly telling them, like in my house, we value kindness, we value gentleness, we value being fair, and we value communicational skills. And with all that, it comes to them having a chance to properly communicate their feelings. Sometimes they have to do it with me. You know, they'll stop me in the heartbeat. And Dad, I understand you want to talk about this, but I really am not in a good space, and I don't want to risk saying anything crazy, right? And so, like, we'll separate, and then we'll come back and try again later. Like, these are skills we got to teach them, you know, while they're young. Like this ideal of the bear or the man in the woods, like that hurt my heart a little bit. That all these women are out there rather, or at least they say they rather come across a wild bear in the woods than a man they don't know, you know? And I think a lot of that stems on bad behavior on both sides being sort of elevated in these sorts of spaces. Social media, you know, if it bleeds, it leads on CNN or Fox. It doesn't even matter. They're all the same thing. They got to get the clicks, the engagement, whatever keeps people coming back for the blood. But I think we can do better. And I'm with you, Loss. Like any of my takes, I try to make them such that you can reverse the gender roles all you want, but it's applicable. And it really comes down to good people, bad people, right? So that's where I'm at with all this.
I'm interested in that statement, though. You said, and I wanted to hear from the ladies because I had this conversation with my 14-year-old and my wife as well, and they had their perspectives. Uh, why are women choosing, so many women, I won't say all, choosing the bear versus the man that they don't know? Any one of the ladies?
You said choosing the bear versus the man that they don't know.
Like in the woods, because it's like if you're in the woods, what would you rather?
Oh, well, okay. So I think this is a perspective that most men will never understand in terms
That's what I meant.
of you know being a woman in this space. Just to, I say, operate in the world, we are always having to be cautious, right? There's always this level of unsafetyness being around men that you don't know, because from an early age, even by our dads or whoever, we're taught don't trust no man, right? Because they're only after one thing, right? So you're getting those messages early on about that aspect. And then when you're in the world and dealing, like how I told y'all, grown men hanging out at the high school, trying to get younger girls. So moving through the world, especially if you're somewhat attractive, especially when you're younger, like you would be surprised, maybe you're not surprised, how many like grown men grown men who know that you are underage will come at you, and things like that. So for a woman being alone with a man that's a stranger, that's automatically going to be one of the first things that kind of pop into her head based on the environment that she's in. So being in a secluded environment, that will be the thought. He's going to rape me. You know what I'm saying? And it's just the nature of moving as a woman in this world. It's unfortunate.
Thank you for sharing that, Jamie.
It would be like the uncertainty. So like I know the bear would possibly hurt me. Like I know that the bear is wild. I know the bear's nature is to be a wild animal. But the man, like I don't know what he can and cannot do. Like I don't know his true intention. You can never tell the true intention of a male, right? And so I don't know. I don't know anything about this bear and the man situation. I really don't. I have not seen it. But if I look at it from the perspective is I know that the bear is a wild animal and I know what to expect with that animal. But when I have to look at a human and I don't know what to expect from that person, like I don't. And so if I was smart, I would pick the thing that I know what they're going to do versus the thing that I don't know what they can possibly do to me. And that's just, I'm just giving you what, if I'm looking at it from a perspective purpose, I don't know what the argument was. So that is just that's
It
what
was
my
a would
logical
you
thinking
rather.
would say.
It was one of those would you rather type questions.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather be in the woods with a man, or would you rather be in the woods with a bear? That's what the question
Yeah,
has
you're
been.
walking in the
Oh,
woods and you come across one or the other. Which one would you rather? And that again, that makes me sad to hear that coming from women, and that should be a sort of whistle for us men, right? To one, teach our children better, because I mean that's a good point. The idea that your father instills so much fear in you, mistaken, right? And look, I had some weapons training with the drill sergeant, and he was in the police department for a long time. And some of the training for it was all like, all right, somebody pulls up at a stoplight and three guys jump out with shotguns, go. And it's like, what? You know what I mean? Where is this scenario even happening? And that kind of training is what they train our police officers for. And so you can imagine, like, okay, well, that makes a little bit more sense why we're seeing so much violence. It's actually up this last year at the end of 2023, right? More people died at the hands of police. After all the marching, after all the talking, after all the George Floyd bills being pushed forward and politicized and then pulled back. But the idea of that bear in the wild, I don't think women understand how bears eat and how protective they are of their territory and how they challenge. Right? I watched a video one time and this is awful. Literally a bear, they don't act like predators, right? Like a big cat, like a tiger or a lion, they go for the neck, get you, incapacitated, and then they eat you. A bear just pins you down and strips pieces of flesh off of you. So I think, like, do these women even understand what they're saying? Right? A man you can talk to, right? I heard some funny things on the internet too, where women were like, but what if he's fine? Like he may rather be right come across a bear than me. You know what I mean? So it's all these things, right, that we keep telling each other. At what point do we all just say, let's pause for a minute and think this through? And is this logical? And I think us parents have to actually seek out more information and try to understand the things that we're talking about, and then maybe we'll have a more informed conversation.
But see, Jay Zilla, about the bear thing, that's what Jamie was talking about. She knows what the bear is capable of. She knows that the bear can kill her in one swoop, right? The thing is that with the man, you don't know what he's capable of. It could be like some Jeffrey Dahmer kind of situation. So in that sense, I'd rather deal with the bear because you're going to take me out and it's going to be done and over with, as opposed to keeping me alive and doing things to me and dragging it out. A bear is not going to have that mindset. It's just going to act on its nature
I
as a
think that's
bear.
a Hollywood mindset. With all due respect.
But tell those to the people that Jeffrey Dahmer killed. like I'm like they even now, like even maybe not to the extreme of a Jeffrey Dahmer, but there are women who have been brutally raped over multiple days, gang raped. You know what I'm saying? Not too soon after that, there was a video that showed how the four guys was in the woods and they raped a lizard.
You
Like
have to
what?
be careful with that word on these streets.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So just the mindset of a man to even think about gang raping a lizard and then they cooked it and ate it. You know what I'm saying? So those are things that like I'm not saying women are going around saying, "Oh, he gonna rape me and eat me." No, I don't mean that, but just the mindset of a man is unpredictable. So for a woman being in that situation like that, we don't know. He could be the sweetest, kindest man, but for us, it's up in the air. We don't know.
And that's what Jay Zilla is saying. He's saying that the logic behind it is more feeling than logic, is what he's saying. Right? You feel a fear that you're not sure of, but you're more comfortable with the fear that you know. That's what you all are saying. And so to make like the situation that happened to most women is not good and it's awful as it relates to some type of SA, whether it's underage or whether it's where it's unprovoked, where guys are groping women and things of that nature. That's unfortunate, right? I would say though, obviously, as speaking as a man, would you look at it as that most men, what percentage of, well, I'll get it like this. What percentage of men do you think are in the mindset of taking advantage of women?
Can you clarify taking advantage?
I'm talking about whether like in the woods, groping,
I mean,
or trying to SA, because that really kind of helps explain a couple of things. Because if you all, based on that percentage, that would say that y'all believe that the majority of men are not good morally.
I think it's the poison skittle situation.
Hold on. So what percentage would you say that men would try to take advantage of women in the woods?
If they knew that there would be no consequences.
No, just I'm not.
No, because I think that makes a difference, is what I'm saying. And I think for most people, if you
they have no consequences.
No, what I'm saying, if you can get away with like doing something and there wouldn't be a consequences, you will probably more than likely have an increase in people doing stuff. Sometimes it's the laws, the rules, the regulations that help keep some people in check. There's some people that don't need it because they keep themselves in check. They don't need that. But there are where I think I would say even vast majority of people need to know that there's going to be some consequence to keep them in check. So in a situation like being in the woods, and if you know that there's no possibility that you would get in trouble, I'm going to say 80-20. I believe in that 80-20 rule. So I would think there's probably 80% of men that would probably do something and get away with it than not. So I would say the majority of men would.
Okay. What you got, Jamie?
I would agree with Miss Taken, and I'm going to agree with her based on me working at the juvenile court clerk's office and in the dependency and neglect section. And so I've seen cases filed that probably would really ruin people's lives. I've seen people that are everyday people being filed cases against them touching on their daughters or making their siblings sleep with one another. I have seen things, and when you see them, because I had to treat everybody the same, I had to treat them as if they were not criminals. When they come to the counter, you would never think that that was the person that I just read this petition about, right? So, and some of the things men did, I've seen them where they've tied up their kids and rolled them out outside and let them sit in the chair and would burn them with cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? Their children, they would do this to their kids. And so I would say 80, I would say about 80-20. And this is all races. This is not just saying Black. I'm saying all races, like the mind of an unsaved person is not stable and it's not safe. And not everybody is Christian, even if they say they are, because I've seen those ones in there. I've seen a man come in, old, crippled man. I was helping him to his seat and then found out that he had been molesting kids for years. And he was a school teacher at one point. He was the music school teacher, and he was molesting kids in the school. Then he left the school and he was molesting kids in the church. And he could barely walk. So 80-20.
That's the point. But your data would be considered skewed data, though.
Right.
Why do you say that?
Am I mistaken? Because you're coming from that particular pool of people.
Right.
So
well, no, if you look at the stats, even
I know what I'm saying. If you go to, I'm talking about her data. And I'm not talking about, I'm not saying
why
that
would my data be skewed?
Because if it'd be like getting data from a hospital and saying 100% of the people that come to the hospital are sick.
Right. And JB, you had that same
because those are the numbers that you have. So you would say the majority of people are sick in the world, when they're probably not.
If you look at the general stats in terms of women experiencing or girls experiencing SA or something along those lines, is about 1 in 3, right? That's a substantial amount of girls being exposed to that. Now, that's not to say that every single one of them were men. It could have been by women as well. But the vast majority of them are typically by men.
I don't know if that to be the case.
I'm telling you, look at the stats. That's not to say that guys don't get SA'd as well. I spoke about that before. The difference is with boys, especially if it's a woman with a boy, the way society frames it, boys don't be thinking that they've gotten molested or SA'd.
Yeah.
It's viewed as a come up. Oh, you had an older woman, but no, they've been SA'd and molested or what have you as well. So those numbers aren't reported as often, but even their numbers are kind of high as well. Yeah, definitely one in 3 is a huge number.
What I was saying to, I'm trying to make sure you understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I know that particular stat. I was saying that Jamie's situation wouldn't be able to qualify necessarily as speaking to a percentage of why she would go with 80. Right. And even in your situation, you still wouldn't be able to go with 80. You said 1 in 3. Right. It's still that's 33%. Right. But that's still a lot. Right. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. So don't make a mistake about that. I'm very aware of a lot of women have been molested. I'm aware of that. Right. I'm also aware of that. If that happened and they go to jail, they're mistreated in the jail by dudes in the jail, because dudes in the jail don't even validate men that do that. You see what I'm saying? So even the people that went to prison for whatever type of crime they did are not okay with men molesting. Right? So that's even shows you a different level of morality, that a criminal would say, no, you should not do that to a woman or a kid, because you do that, we're going to destroy you in here. Go ahead, Jesus.
That's what I was asking in the back chat. like you said, being held accountable, and that's what keeps everything in check. And my question was being held accountable by whom, right? If right now every man just emailed each other somehow and just decided, hey fellas, gates are open, do whatever you want. How much of a chance do y'all think y'all will stand? Do you really believe it's going to be that much of a like 80% of men are just going to have their way, or is there going to be a huge chunk of men who do what they always have done, which is protect women?
That's a great
And
question.
just real quick against, not against, but the point for Miss Jamie, you had a situation on here where you said you were talking about your clients, and out of 10 say, they left because he was cheating. And Humble says something about them being possibly lying. But my thought was she's working in an industry where women who have been cheated on are coming to her to help put themselves back together. So that's why we have
your show, right?
Right. So that's why we have these averages, right? That, that's why we've got to look at the micro and the macro. And that stat about even boys being involved but not being as much reported. Like, look at how things are portrayed on TV. You know what I mean? Like, literally, you got a
I
little.
guess my problem is with like them not reporting. Majority of my petitions had young boys in there being touched on, and that's where I think that these stats are invalid sometimes too, just because in my petitions I didn't just have females in my thing. I had a lot of young boys that were touched, sometimes murdered. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have no small cases, and so and that's why I question stats, because there should be a higher percentage of young men, and this is something that have been touched inappropriately, that have been violated and done some horrific things to. And that's why I want to make sure I say this. When I stated those petitions, that included young men. Like, the man at the church wasn't raping young women. It was young boys that he was doing that to.
Yeah, we're not. That's not
So
what
I just wanted to clarify that.
we totally understood what you were saying. We were saying that mistaken's information would be more of an opportunity to grab a hold to as a stat, because it's a random sample size and they're getting a random sample of things. You cannot go to the hospital and survey people about being sick.
Mhm.
You see, that's the
Yeah.
difference in your particular study, or not even study, but
Sample.
your sample size, as opposed to mistaken. We're not discrediting that it happens. We're discrediting as it being a source to cite that 80% of men would be doing the same type of thing to women. That's what we're saying. And then on top of that, even mistaken's stat has 67% of women not being SA, men, boys or girls being SA, which would still allude to that your percentage is really high.
Mhm.
You see
But
what I'm
it's
saying?
kind of like what Jamie said, though, too. And let's keep it real. The stats is based off of those that have reported.
Correct.
So I would also argue that those stats are probably way much higher than that. But that's what we have right now. So that's what we have to go by. But yeah, I would say vast majority are not even reported.
That's a fair assessment, and I can roll with that. No doubt about it. I was just trying to make that particular point right there.
Mhm.
But all over together, it's a horrible situation, because for anybody to get molested is horrible. And not only that, because of it, there's a traumatization to where individuals will now think that the majority of a particular gender would do that to them, right? Because that's what it is that you're saying. And then we had to put a caveat on it to say, well, if there was nobody that would get in trouble. I think it's like the movie Purge. I think it was a movie where Purge, where you can do whatever you want, right? And so what Jay Zilla is saying, that he believes that there would be more men policing, protecting women and children. You all are saying, no, we believe that most of the men will be out here trying to get at women. And that is a problem if
Humble
you
dad.
are thinking that particular manner.
Yeah, that's 3 out of 4 of
Sir.
us men on this panel right now.
Humble dad, if I may, sir.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
If I may. I think the real problem is how men are marketed to women. You know what I'm saying? If you look at it, most men are marketed as evil beings. That's the reason why women don't trust us. Think about it. Every horror movie is the center of a man. You got Jason Voorhees, you got Michael Myers, you know what I'm saying? You got Freddy Krueger. All those are guys. Those are bad men. But if in the case of women, they're always portrayed as some type of dolls. You got Annabelle, Bride of Chucky. You know what I'm saying? Something that's not as threatening. You know what I'm saying? I can handle a little doll. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. But when it comes to men, they're always villainized. You see what I'm saying? So it's the optics that women have to get over. You see what I'm saying? Think about it. Your husband are those guys who are also someone's son as well too. And I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want another woman accusing your husband of being a terrible animal. You see what I'm saying? That's the reason why when we lie to women, we actually inadvertently put them in compromising positions that may endanger their lives. And I think the psychological aspect of this is horrible. You see what I'm saying? You're convincing women that their protectors are the evil ones, when in reality, your protectors are keeping you safe from the world, which is evil. And I think that is a bad way to portray men. And I think the rest of the world owe men an apology, because every time a man speaks, he speaks the wrong way. You know, he doesn't always have the right answers. He's a bumbling idiot. You know what I'm saying? They'll portray him as an Al Bundy. You know what I mean? Or somebody like that is somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. And what happens is when you take away a man's identity to lead without his say so, that's actually doing the rest of the world a disservice. A man can't lead if the other people don't have confidence in him to lead. That's the main reason why I always tell other men, stop lying on men. Men are here to help, not hurt. And when we hear these stories, I can't help to think about the women who have sons don't see their little boys as serial, you know what's. You see what I'm saying? How could you even look at your son and say he's going to go out and he's going to be a bad person? You see what I'm saying? And I don't think that we should do that. Think about it, how women are marketed. Women are marketed as sugar and spice and everything nice. So guess what? No matter what they do, they get the benefit of the doubt. Think about how many women who have lied, who have said that men have done terrible things to them, and come to find out they didn't. They don't serve any time. They don't go to jail. They don't pay back restitution, nor do they restore this gentleman's reputation. You see what I'm saying? But they let it slide. But if it was the other way around, then that man has to live with that forever. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is this: I think the world does men a disservice by telling women that men are bad. You see what I'm saying? I would hate to live in a world where it was the other way around, where all women were evil and men always had something bad to say about women, and men would rather choose the bear over women. I think that's a disservice, because I think women are better than a bear. You see what I'm saying? And in essence, a man is better than a bear, because a man will go out 9 times, he's not thinking about having sex with you. He's thinking about survival. You see what I'm saying? He's probably trying to find shelter. He's probably trying to figure out how to eat, and he's probably trying to figure out how to feed you, or say, hey, look, I'm here to help. I'm not here to do anything wild because I'm hungry. I'm trying to eat. Most guys are thinking about their survival. They're not thinking about sex in the woods or no foolishness like that, if we're being honest about the situation. So I want women to really think about the situation that you're in. You're in the woods alone. Survival is the number one key. And I don't think sex is on the top of guys' minds when it comes to survival. They're probably trying to get to a situation where they can survive another day. And that's how most men are in the world. They're just trying to get through the next day. They're not thinking about taking sex from a woman or anything like that. Most guys are good. And I hate when people paint pictures of men. That's why there's always a low level of contempt for women. And that's the reason why I said earlier, Humble Dad, the reason why most women make bad decisions when it comes to men is because they don't have enough information. And I'll assure you, if that woman talked to that man in the woods, she would understood that he was probably no threat. But that bear, I assure you, he would eat you. He's a killing machine. He's going to do what God put him on this earth to do, and that's to survive. And if he has to eat you to do it, he will. And nobody's going to think anything other than the bear was just doing what the bear does. So I'm going to close by saying this, ladies, make sure that you understand that men are not here to take advantage of you or harm you in a way. Most men are here good and to serve.
Proto, then mistaken. Proto, on you.
Okay. Yeah. So, is sex with a man really worse than getting eaten by a bear? Like, good Lord. Like, that's crazy.
What a
That's,
question.
that's crazy to me.
Case in
Like,
point.
y'all are so
Case in point.
y'all are so afraid to have sex with the man. Like, that's scarier than being eaten by a bear.
Wow, that's a dope question, Proto.
That's crazy. Good Lord.
Case in point. That's exactly what we were saying. You would never understand what it is like to be a woman just by that comment that you made. You know what I'm saying? Like, would you?
But
he's
asking.
You're
being eaten by a bear.
Well,
like, he's eating you
what
alive.
she's
He's
saying is
ripping
that
off
she'd rather
flesh.
die. She
like
said
in
she'd rather
terms,
die.
right? Well, in terms of
That's not
course,
dying.
I have a
That's
family.
agonizing.
In terms of family, of course, you're going to do what you got to do to survive. So if a woman ends up getting raped, she'll just have to deal with it and deal with the consequences of that, the lifelong consequences of being in that situation. So of course, at the end of the day, like you said, logically thinking, which one will I be able to get home? It is a toss up, because you don't know if the bear is hungry. If the bear isn't hungry, they ain't gonna bother you. You know what I'm saying? But if
the man ain't a creep, he's not gonna bother you.
Huh?
If the man not a creep, he's not gonna bother
Well, that's
you.
what I'm saying. So what women are saying is, I don't know, it might be a 50-50 chance, in that situation. But
even
I'm
if the
saying,
man's a creep, that's worse than being torn apart by a bear.
I wouldn't know, because once the bear hit me, I'm knocked out. It's over
No,
with.
you're
It's
not.
done.
No,
It's
you're
done.
not.
It depends on
Not
what
how
kind
they
of
hunt.
bear it is.
That's not how they hunt. It's not how they eat. It's slow and painful, and
It
most times
depends
they
on.
don't.
I was reading, it was saying black bears are different than brown bears, and polar bears are the worst.
They're
So
a
it
lot
all
smaller,
depends
but
on.
they hunt the same and they
Um,
eat the same.
no, so what I'm saying is, I think they were saying, like, with black bears, you have a likelihood more of survival based on, like, making a noise, make yourself look big. Like, it was just a bunch of
Hey, bear
videos going
technique.
around and
Yeah.
all of that. But my point is that even the fact that I guess a man brain is able to think like that because they don't ever have to live in the fear of being sexually assaulted.
But that's not true, though. That's not true.
Not at the same. Well, if they're in jail, maybe that might be a situation.
Your
But
premise before was as a kid.
hmm?
Your own premise was when as kids. That's what we was talking about, being molested. We were talking about boys and girls being molested as a kid. That's what we were talking about. So
Correct.
a boy. Listen,
I'm saying now as an adult, I
right, but
think
you
that's
changed it
different.
though. But at first,
No, when I didn't say boys, I said men don't. So that
the men have
insinuates
it,
that
but
they're an
I'm
adult
saying
man.
men have the same. We don't necessarily look at it as a fear, but men. Let's see, women SA men just as much as women do men. That is what you're not understanding, because a
You're
woman will.
talking about younger. That I'm talking about no. I'm going off of what Proto was saying.
Okay.
He was talking about adult men. So what I was referring to is adult men don't walk around with the same fear of being SA'd as an adult woman would. They don't.
I see what you're saying. What I'm saying is, I understand I don't think that us guys on the panel don't understand that y'all. We're not. It's important to stay in the context of what the conversation is and not go out of bounds of it. Because what we were talking about was from the position of a bear and a man. We're not talking about if you're walking the streets of Atlanta or walking the streets of Dallas. We understand why y'all would have a fear of a guy doing something to you and you're walking by yourself. That's why we as men would say, why would you go to the club by yourself? Or why would you be out late by yourself? Why would a woman go running in New York City in the park by herself? Because we understand that there are dangers there. In particular, more often, it's going to be a guy. We are aware of that. What we're trying to make understanding of is if you had a choice, because this is your choice. The choice that you're saying is that you would prefer to die a painful death versus, I mean, it's going to be inevitable that you're going to die, as opposed to take the 25 to 30% chance that this guy may SA you. That's what you're saying. It's 100% chance you're going to be eaten by this bear. It's a 70% chance that this man is coming alongside you to help you to safety. And we're saying, how do you all ration that is what we're saying. We're not disagreeing that men will take that there are men that will see you walking down the street and will try to do something to you. Not the majority of men will do that. They might catcall you or something to that nature, but the majority of men are not out here trying to SA women, is what the panel is saying. Go ahead, Jamie.
Okay, so I didn't answer the question originally. I gave the logic behind that thing because I don't know the bear situation. If it was me, I wouldn't be in the woods in the first place. But if I had to choose between a bear and a man, you feel me? I'll be out there because I can't even be outside with the cicadas right now. It's real bad for me. I ain't been outside, and y'all don't really know. And so, with that being said, I would pick the man and be at my own risk. But that's me personally, right? When I looked at it logically, I'm telling you, the women, when they're looking at it, I know what this bear is going to do. I know that what this bear is capable of. And women have such a fear of men based on the things that the panel has said that they would pick they would pick the bear. They would pick the bear over a man. Now, you guys got my answer. Now that is my answer for me. Now I can't speak for anybody else. I didn't even know. I don't know. I gotta look this up now. I'm not even gonna go to sleep.
Question for this evening. Oh man, goodness gracious, y'all derailed me. It was a good dialogue though, and so I hate the transition when it's such a good dialogue. You know what I'm saying? But the question that I had, and if y'all can make it short and sweet, you know what I'm saying? Why do women want power without responsibility? Why do women want power without responsibility? I'll give you an example. So we have single mothers, right? And they will say, well, it wasn't my fault I got pregnant, example, right? They will say it was that man that manipulated me. Okay. Now, okay, how can a man manipulate you to do something such as having sex? Right? Because you had to want it. He couldn't even have the opportunity to manipulate you. He can't. With that's an example. Another example of is similar to who we have, Vivica Fox, where she had the power to be in the position to be a wife. 50 didn't want her like that. However, she could have moved on. She did have I think she transitioned and she had a 26-year-old dude about 13 years ago or something like that. She chose to be with a 26-year-old dude, right? As opposed to now she's saying she want a friend. Why isn't she able to say, or most women able to say, you know what, I messed up. The way that I was thinking prior was wrong. Now I know that I'm in the position that I'm in because of me, not because of the men. that are out there. So I want to hear who wants to go first on this.
I'll go.
I'll take it.
Let's go, Proto.
Women or children. Shout out to your boy that always say that. I don't remember his name.
Mr. Let Go.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're actually doing an episode about it, man. It's like the forever teen. Like they always want to be teenagers. Like that's what a teenager wants to do. They want all the power, none of the accountability, none of the responsibility. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just a lack of maturity. They say women mature faster than men, but I think it stops and then men outgrow them after that. You know what I'm saying? And they just forever stay in their mind in their 20s. You know what I'm saying? So that's all it is for real. Unless they get hit with the reality of ain't no man coming to save me, they'll be stuck. And that's where they stay. So.
Good. Jay Zilla, you want to go?
Sure. I like prototype statement. But again, anything I say, I try to make it be, have the ability to be flipped for either gender we're talking about. Humans are children. Some of us mature very quickly. Some of us have this thing. I think it's Arrested Development, right? You see the 70-year-old dude still wearing basketball shorts and an old jersey, right? Who's hanging around looking for a 16-year-old mistaken, waiting for her to get out of school, unfortunately. But I think if we take a step back, I'm telling you, we need this ceasefire. Take a step back and look at these situations. Again, when my daughters, we talked about this bear man in the woods situation, right? My job wasn't to say, oh, you're dumb and here's why. My job was, why do you feel that way? Right? And then do you think we can do our part as men to correct that? And then maybe in time, that perception changes. Maybe in time, maybe 50 years from now, they'll be like, of course, a man. I can negotiate with him, right? Listen, we'll do it once a month, right? You build me a house and hunt for me. Who knows, right? But the Vivica Fox situation, I think that's the situation where she got caught up in what she was sold and told, right? Girl, you can be a cougar. I mean, there's so many cougar shows out there now. You can be a cougar, get you a young man, just satisfy your needs. You got all this money. You can take care of everything else. I don't need a man. I'm independent, right? But then it turns out that, she does want something more deep and fulfilling. So I kind of hear where she's coming from, which is, I want somebody my age, right? That young dude, yes, he was built like the statue of David, and he was fantastic, right? But I'm, referenced some old show, and he's looking at me like I'm crazy. That we got to start realizing that we're more than just the physical. For the most part, I do believe we're spiritual, and that needs to be fed. All right. So I'm closing. Let's go with Lost in Translation.
You know what? That's a great question, Humble Dad. I think if we look at this whole entire conversation and put it on a bow, I think women would rather put the man in the friend zone in case things don't work out between her and the bear. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what we're talking about here. You want all the options and the freedoms to choose the man just in case the bear decides to get hungry. You know what? Man, do your thing. Handle this bear for me. You know what I'm saying? They want the decision to choose the bear, but they want to have the option to have the man handle the bear in case things get dicey. So basically, if you ask my opinion on it, that's probably the reason why women want all the benefits of making an option or having responsibility without having any power behind it. So that would probably be my synopsis of wrapping this whole thing. They want to put the man in the friend zone in case things don't work out between her and the bear. I'm gonna go with mistaken. I'm not gonna let you off the hook tonight.
You're funny.
But it's true. It's true.
I think when we talk about power, because there's different forms of power, but in general, I think most women are looking for a balance of power. Is not necessarily taking power. So in a situation that you just gave, is not that they're not taking ownership per se. They want the power and then they don't take responsibility. It is the other aspect of wanting the man to take responsibility as well. So and that's what I mean by the balance of power. I end up pregnant, but then it's my fault that I didn't keep. You want me to take responsibility by saying, man, this wouldn't happen if I kept my legs closed. Then we would have never had sex. So all of the ownership and the power is kind of placed on my lap without that balance of it, of saying, you know what, he should have wore a condom or he shouldn't have had sex too. So I think a lot of times that's what gets mixed up, is that, and I think Jay Zilla, we talked about this a little bit too, about how the ownership is put on women to keep men in line. And that's not men taking accountability and responsibility. You're looking for the woman to make you responsible and make you be accountable by her closing her legs, as opposed to you having self-discipline. So typically, I don't think women are trying to challenge men for power. I think you guys feel like that when we're just trying to have a fight for a balance of power. So I think that's the difference.
Jamie, on you.
All right, I'm going to start with my answer. Personally, I don't want power and I definitely don't want responsibility. It sucks here. It sucks. Period. I am really disheartened about the way I thought being a grown up would be fun. And now it's just really a lot. Okay. I will say that when I look at history, women have a lot more power than we truly understand. And I think we've desired power, if we look at the Bible, since the beginning, right? If we didn't, we wouldn't have been able to be convinced to eat from the tree so we could be wiser. If we felt like we needed something extra, right? Um, I do, I believe we evade responsibility even from then, because nothing really happened until Adam decided to partake in what Eve done, right? And so the responsibility really fell on the man. And so we just kind of look like, well, you know, we got a big punishment because we have to have bear children, but God got on to Adam about it. And that's why he said, well, it's the woman you gave me that brought this over here, right? So if we look at history and our DNA structure and what we've done, we've always wanted power, but no responsibility. Women, even at younger ages, like you could see a young little girl, she's bossy. She'd come out sometimes just very bossy, more bossy than the boy. She would bully the young boy, head on. And I have two nieces. I watched them do it. I watched them do it before they could even talk. I was like, hey, y'all are bullying your older brother. Like this is not okay. Like you don't do that. But it's because I don't know what's in us that makes us want to tell y'all what to do, but and point our fingers like that. But I've seen babies do it, right? And so that's why we innately want power, the ability to be wise, and we don't want responsibility a lot of the time, but we have lots of responsibility. That's why we bear the children. And if a man gets us pregnant and leaves, we the one that has to raise them. So we're forced to be responsible now. Just FYI, like that's the way I look at it. But I think it sucks here. Just that's all I wanted to say.
Man, listen. You said that it sucks here. Are you taking responsibility for the reason why it sucks here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I took responsibility when it happened. I already knew. I knew. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not fun.
Okay, that's cool. I was just asking because that's the topic, right? The power as it relates to, like I was telling me and Miss Taken had this conversation almost a week ago, the previous Friday. And I know Jay Zilla likes to disagree. And I got a partner, shout out to Dez, likes to disagree. And like to go back to the biblical times and things of that nature. But y'all off on this one. Explain why. The paradigm as it relates to having a dad in the household is no longer there. So to utilize how it worked in the Bible is not adequate if the woman is not being raised by a father, which in our culture is not. So therefore, the woman in the past, we're gonna go 70s, 80s. These men are being raised by single moms. So you're telling a man right now that in my generation to step up and be a man, right? You hold the man responsible for being a man, and he was not raised by a man. But then when it's time to say, keep your legs closed, young lady, now it's the man needs to step up too and have dick discipline, which I do agree that he needs to have dick discipline, but he can have dick discipline by you saying no. If you say no, he don't have a choice. So once again, we are trying to not allow women to be held accountable for the decision as it relates to the sex that takes place. Now, once he gets her pregnant, I'm on listen all day. I'm telling him he needs to take care of the kid, right? What I'm saying is that why can't we talk to the women before that happens and let her know that you're the one that has the highest you're the one that has the highest risk factor. You're the one that is going to lose out the most. If this dude don't stay around, the kid is on you. So I don't understand for the life of me why we want to say that it's the man's fault when she could have prevented it. And not only that, they both were raised by single mothers, but it's okay when it comes to the woman, but we still going to hold the man accountable to be a man, even though he was raised by that same single mother. I don't understand it, and it's really important for me to like when I'm talking to my kids, something happened. One of y'all is responsible, and now how can it be both of their fault if one of them started it? If one of them started it, I need to talk to that person about what their responsibility was in causing the argument or causing the dismay or the dysfunction that just took place. And if the other kid responded immaturely, then I will deal with that person as well, because there is a way that you need to respond. But there is a responsibility that the woman holds as it relates to the power of sex. You cannot continue to run from this, ladies. And I'm giving you game. And I don't understand why women want to go against the game that I'm giving. Y'all just said it earlier, friend zoning. If he's in the friend zone, he ain't getting nothing. But because you want to have sex, and then you want to say, well, it was his fault that we had sex, or he's a no good dude after y'all had sex, or he's not husband material after the baby's here, or he's not a good father because now the baby's here, right? And he's not doing nothing. The responsibility starts before the baby gets here. Keep your legs closed, and you will see totally different results. That's what I got. And I'm going to continue
Humble,
to say.
but
Yeah,
humble.
man. You want to lose on this one too? Go ahead, Jay Z.
That's part of the problem. The idea that it's win or loss. Why are we not in this together to help everybody? Kind of rising tide lifts all ships. The idea that what you just said was that, yeah, if the person reacts badly to that person who started something, they're going to be dealt with too. And why can we use the Bible? Because that's the thing that God uses to hold us accountable. I don't care what any woman. I tell my sons this all the time. I don't care what people do outside of here. You know the rules. You know right from wrong, and you're gonna have to deal with those consequences. I'm already teaching my children self responsibility and holding themselves accountable. Right. So I'm trying to figure out, why can't it just be any of you out there who are having sex outside of marriage? Just know that that's wrong according to the Bible. Outside, right? But outside of that, same thing. If we agree to do this thing, part of that is both of us taking what comes with it. This idea of who does it first and this one has more, like, I don't subscribe to that, man. That
You don't
story
do
of Adam,
that. So you're
that
telling me
story,
that, hold
that
on, real quick.
story.
So when you talk to your kids,
When I talk
you're
to my
telling
kids,
me is both their fault?
I talk to them as individuals and I say, here's your fault and here's your fault. Here's how both of y'all could have worked together to prevent this.
So how is that different than what I said?
Yeah, because you're making this, well, who did it first? And the woman opened her legs, and that's the
You
real.
just say that about your. Didn't you just say that about your own kids? You just said, kid A, I'm gonna tell you what your fault is in it, and kid
Right.
B, I'm gonna tell you your fault is in it, and I'm gonna tell you how y'all could have rectified this situation without me.
Just like Miss Takey was talking
I
about.
literally just did that,
But
Jay.
that's the idea. It should be both. Every single time. Every single time, humble.
Jay,
Every single time.
that's exactly what I did. And because it's not under the caveat of how you're comfortable with it, because that would absolve the woman to that particular degree. Because literally what I said was, the once he impregnates her or has sex with her, I literally said he should have the discipline. I said that. I said, but the way that it could happen without it even him being having to do that as well is for her to not give it to him.
Right. But my question is,
So explain to
if
me.
you say,
No,
I'm
don't
asking.
no question. You answer my question. My question is, how is that different from me saying, woman, this is where your responsibility lies? Man, this is where your responsibility lies. And this is how you're able to avoid the turmoil that y'all both have brought into this world.
Because you're putting this weird order on it for some strange reason. I don't understand this. Right? You're putting it, well, it's because the woman first, right? So she has first responsibility. Well, what about the man just not putting her in that position, not putting himself in that position?
How does the man put the woman in that position?
No, I'm saying just by even asking.
Answer.
What happens if we fix that? What happens if every man, humble?
No, we're not going to answer that question.
We're not going to answer that question.
We haven't answered the other question.
My whole thing is our aim should be, let's look at why people are having sex and not taking responsibility. This is your portion. This is your portion, just like you did, humble. Like I'm copping to that.
Okay.
Right. I think we need more of that. Men, this is what you should do. Women, this is what you should do. All the way back in the beginning, if Adam decided, hey girl, what are you doing with that fruit? Didn't God tell you? Who knows? We may still be in the garden getting it popping with no clothes on right now.
Listen, I literally said what the responsibility of the woman was. You didn't like that because I am not, listen, sex
don't put words in my mouth. I'm saying that's fine. It's this weird first, second, third, like this weird.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you a different question.
Go ahead.
So I'll keep a simple one. So did your wife say, who asked the question to who? Did you ask your wife to marry you? Or
yes.
Did she ask you?
I asked her.
Which came first?
Me asking her.
So which came second?
Her saying yes.
Okay. So the responsibility was on you first to ask. Is that true?
Yes. We believe in that traditionally. Yes.
Okay. And then it was her saying yes.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all had to plan XYZ, right?
Right.
Same thing with sex. The woman is the one that typically initiates sex, homie. Yes.
What the frap are we talking about? There are some women that initiate sex, and there are some men that initiate sex.
Listen, follow me. What I'm saying is, a woman decides when y'all have sex. Agree or disagree?
This is like some CNN stuff.
That's-
Agree, sir.
It's not rocket scientists.
That's a
No,
real.
I know it's not, but I'm saying, like, why can't we go back to the very
Why you
simple
running
thing?
from what I'm asking?
No. I literally
But just answer it and don't go nowhere else. Just answer the question and don't go nowhere else. All right.
Yes,
So,
sir.
can sex happen? Does sex typically happen before the woman says yes?
No, sir.
Right. The woman is the one that says yes, we can first. It's not the guy saying let's go ahead and get it done, and then she's like, "Oh, okay." No, because she has to be comfortable.
But what you don't understand is that is the equal side to that too, because that's why I say it's a shared responsibility, because sex can't happen with one person. So regardless of who asks first, the opposite, the inverse is true. If the
What about marriage?
man,
Then? What
if,
about marriage, Miss Taken? Do you agree
no,
with that?
what I'm no, hold on, listen. What I'm saying is the inverse is true. So just like the woman, the man can initiate, but the woman has to say yes and agree to it, and then it happens, right?
Mhm.
So the inverse could be true even if the woman initiates. The man have the same opportunity to say no, and guess what? It won't go anywhere. So what I'm saying for in that regard is that there's equal responsibility when it comes to sex. So if one part, it doesn't matter who says no. If the man keeps his penis in his pants, sex ain't gonna happen. If the woman keeps her legs closed, sex isn't gonna happen. So I don't think the messaging should just only be on women to say, keep your legs closed. Although I do think that that should be their messaging, but I think the equal messaging needs to be men, keep your penis in your pants.
But when
So
did I not?
if both of them are getting the same messaging, then at that point, it should be an equal shared responsibility of whatever consequences come from that.
But didn't I say
And
that?
a lot of times, no, what I'm saying is a lot of times women are blamed for being the single parent while absolving the man who put her in this situation to be a single parent.
See what I'm saying? He didn't put her in that situation. She put herself in that situation.
Humble dad,
No,
if I may,
she did not
if
Let her
she
finish
did
real
not
quick.
control the man leaving. Yet she controlled the fact that she played a role in her getting pregnant.
Yeah.
But being a single mom is not, just like the man can't make the choice for her to have the child, it becomes her decision. Once she has the child, it becomes the man's decision to leave. She has no control over that.
Agreed.
So that's why I'm saying is the equal responsibility. But I do agree with you. It's not a level of disagreeing with you that women should be told to keep their legs closed. But I'm just saying the same messaging should be given to men. The back in the day, the difference was there was a level of consequence for men impregnating a woman. Now that that consequence has been removed, like there aren't any more shotgun weddings, there isn't any male presence to enforce that you're not going to leave my daughter hanging with this baby by herself. There isn't any of that anymore. So now all of the shift, instead of getting back to that, the shift has become women, you need to keep your legs closed, as opposed to trying to change that aspect of men not being held accountable for self-discipline as well. That's all
And
I'm
I
saying.
know. That's why I'm gonna come to you, Lost. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying, for whatever reason, you all don't want to put the sole position on the woman. For whatever reason, I don't know. You wanted, I'm not, because I did not say that a man should not have the discipline. And I said that. I literally said that first. Right? And I just said it again. And I've said it on many, many times before. And then what I said is that he would have no choice if she kept her legs closed, because there are more women there are more single mothers than there are men with kids. You're aware of that, right?
You're
Jason?
aware of why that is, right? Yes, I am. You're
No,
aware of why that is, right?
no, we're not. That's
We're
not.
not going to get into it right now.
We can, but I'm just saying that's the premise, though. The premise is that there are more single mothers, because then you're saying you're going to blame the man just as much as the woman. Do you know? I'll give you this, okay, and I'm gonna shut down. Do you know? Do you know this that 50% of the deleted babies, right, are mothers that come back for a second time? Did you know that, Jay Zilla?
Yes, me and Jamie have had this conversation a while
Okay.
back.
And that's the woman doing that to her own kid. So that's her responsibility of not making that dude be a husband first. That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
So I did not absolve the guy. I'm putting more responsibility where the most risk lies. I don't see how that doesn't make sense. If the guy is going to be able to get out, why would it make more sense to tell the girls, listen, this dude is, y'all just talked about the dude was no good. That 80% of the dudes is trash. Y'all just said that. And then you come back and say, well, we gonna make it the responsibility of the trash dude for the reason why he did what we know he gonna do. Why would you not warn the woman of the 80% of the trash dudes? That's what I'm saying. Y'all be talking outside y'all neck. And I don't think y'all really be knowing what y'all saying. That it's the responsibility of the person that has the most, listen to what I'm saying, the most risk. The person that has the most risk needs to be warned the most. Go ahead, Loss.
Wait, before he goes, is it
No,
not
it's my
a
turn.
man?
No,
Is
no,
it
no.
not a man's
It's my turn.
situation?
It's my turn, Jay Zilla.
It'll
I've been
be
waiting.
Loss because we've been going.
Bro.
Yeah, it's my turn. Here's my thing. Earlier we talked about women choosing between the guy in the friend zone and the guy that they really like.
Yep.
Okay. At that point, the woman made the decision that the guy that they chose is the guy she's attracted to sexually. So A, that's a permission slip. B, we never even talked about the guy in the friend zone. He's the one that has the discipline. He's the one that's not having sex. How come we never bring that guy up in the conversation? You know why? Because he doesn't count. He's invisible. Believe it or not, that is your husband. The guy that you're getting pregnant by has not put a ring on your finger and said, will you marry me? Nor did you require marriage. You know what I'm saying? There was a time where women required marriage for entry. So that way, if you laid down with this man, he was your husband. But that's not what we're looking at today. We're seeing lots and lots of couples coming together, having children without doing the psychological work, the financial work, the spiritual work, the stuff that y'all love to say that y'all want. Y'all want a man with emotional intelligence. You never ask that man that. Why? Because it's like I said earlier, the guy that you like, you don't put him through the paces. You allow him, the barrier of entry is so low, he can just walk right on in. But the guy that you don't like, you give him this huge laundry list of stuff he must accomplish. Why not make the guy that you really like do that same list? You know why? Because there's a fear of abandonment. And also, there's also this thing called fear of missing out. You don't want the status guy to get away, which would validate your ego, which is what we talked about earlier. So, humble dad is correct. If you require marriage before you have sex, you have A, secured a promise, B, you've legitimized your children, 3, you're looked at in the community as a pillar of the community because you required your husband to make you a wife first. There's a totally different way that the world looks at a wife than they look at a baby mama. And you know what we've done? We've told women that men are not worth marrying because we've chosen the bear. And we've also told women that men aren't worth having them protect them because they look at them as if they're less than men. and human. And that is exactly what Humble Dad was saying. Women have all the leverage in this situation, but they refuse to leverage it because they want to put the responsibility anywhere else other than themselves. Here's the problem. You don't want to let society put that on you. You can't use society. Well, society says this. Society can't tell you when to open and close your legs. Society don't even tell you when you should take a bath. But no man can tell you what to do. No man can tell you what to do with your body, my choice, or whatever. But at the end of the day, when you've made a bad decision, we want to blame everybody else except the responsibility on ourselves. And to me, that is the whole antithesis of this podcast. Women want all the power, but none of the responsibility.
Close us out, Jay Zilla.
Appreciate it, man. Lost, there's nothing I can say against that. And I think we're all kind of dancing around the same issues. And I myself am guilty of focusing on the wrong things. Why do people want power without responsibility? It's because you've been sold that that's how you get what you want. And maybe it's an altruistic thing that you think, once I have all the power, I'm going to make everything right according to what you think. But that's not good leadership. So as women, you should absolutely keep your dadgum legs closed. Period. You are solely responsible for that as an individual. As men, what you do with your body, you're going to have to be held accountable for, or at least you should. That's on you as an individual. And if both parties are doing their part, we're not in this mess that we're in. And that's all I'm saying, is that we need to come together. I'm serious about this ceasefire. Stop saying women this, men that, and say, hey, we as people should be doing X, Y, Z. Let's maybe lead with the solutions instead of doing these hot button things. But I get it. We got shows, all of us. We have to get those clicks and engagement. But man, I wish we could be more just solution driven first and talk about it as us as people. People are some things, people are something else. They're good, they're bad, whatever. But we all, each as individuals, have our own responsibilities for our own moral agency. And that's all I'm saying.
Well, appreciate that. I do come with solutions. They may be not like what you like, but every show I have is solutions based. If you look at it, it's typically around how can we do X, Y, Z. So appreciate y'all. Hey, don't forget to check out It's Jamie, you know what I'm saying, on all platforms. Jay Zilla doing his thizzle and Mistaken. Make sure y'all go check her out at She Critique. And always Lost in Translations all over the airwaves. It's been real, it's been fun, it's been dope. Listen, I let the Pentecostal come out today. My bad for holding out so long, but it was Jay Zilla's fault. All right. Until next time, we out here.
Lack of responsibility.
I mean, y'all said it was cool.
I agree.
The boy is dangerous.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see them about to impact the world.